Hello all, and welcome to this post-work beer review. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. Kind of left work a little early because came into work pretty early, so it's been a very long day. I interviewed for a supervisor position today. Uh, Honestly, I kind of hope I don't get it. Long story. That's why my hair is nicely combed, because I want to put grease in it. Literal grease. I use pomade. I can't use like modern hair products. It really irritates my scalp. So I use the old style 50s grease and brilliantine and pomade and all that kind of stuff. Works well enough for me, and I also think it looks better than the newer stuff. It's got a little bit more. It's not as stiff of a hold. Anyways, what is it that we are reviewing tonight? Also, oh boy, this lighting works so nice. So, what's this style of lighting called? Maybe somebody who knows like cinematography can know, but I just think it's so aesthetic. But what are we reviewing? We're reviewing the final beer from Bottleheads, and this is Founders Porter. Now, I've seen many Founders beers on the shelves before, but never their porter. I think it probably is distributed in Hawaii. It's just I've never seen it on the shelves with the other Founders beers. Find the breakfast stouts fairly easy. You can find All Day IPA. You can find several other ones, but it's like the first time. This is the first time I've ever seen the porter. It's a 6.5 ABV, and this particular one was bottled on 12/05/24. So it's about 7 months old, but it doesn't really matter because it's a porter. Porters can take that sort of length of time. And yeah, let's just go and read the back, shall we? Pouring silky black with a creamy tan head, porter gives off wild aromas of roasted coffee and dark chocolate, complemented by low bitterness and a medium body. The nose is sweet with strong chocolate and caramel malt presence, creating a graham cracker sweetness that needs to be tasted to be believed. Okay, 45 IBUs. I've had this out of the refrigerator for about 20 minutes. So pouring it into our stout porter glass very carefully because there's not much room for a head here. But yeah, let's just get to this, shall we? Okay, perfect pour. Okay, just gonna move this to the light a little bit so we can get a coloration. Okay, yeah. So an almost opaque amber color. Some light gets through on the bottom, even here, without the light going directly at it. With a thick tan head. Ooh, yeah. So milk chocolate, caramel, maltiness, like just pure maltiness, like chocolate malt. Overall, very sweet smelling. Not much in the way of coffee notes, other than like maybe coffee that has a lot of milk added to it. Yeah. So there just a very slight amount of roasted overtones to what is overall a kind of sweet, chocolatey, malty kind of aroma here. Okay, onto the palate now. My, that's thick for a porter. It's very chewy for a porter. And there's the coffee. Yeah, there is some definite like light roast coffee notes on the long finish there. Up front, bittersweet chocolate, cacao nibs. Somewhat chocolatey top note that transitions to a very roasted grain kind of top note. I don't know if any of you have ever had postum before, which is kind of like a roasted barley beverage, but yeah, very reminiscent of that in that mid palate top note, where it goes straight to kind of lightly roasted coffee in the long finish, with a lasting malt and also kind of hop bitterness on the finish. Um, that is to style, I would say. And I'm going to have some words here about the style. Yeah, definitely some resiny hop notes showing up in the finish there on the palate, but mostly dominated by malts from start to finish, unsurprisingly. Now, some words about style. When I went and kind of looked at the Beer Advocate profile for this beer, it called it a robust porter for style, which is something I have not seen before. I think it's a new subcategory because it's the first time I've seen it on Beer Advocates. I guess they split off a whole bunch of them. And it seems to be a category for porters that tend to have more oomph in them, body wise, alcohol wise, but do not have the taste qualities of a stout, i.e., more roasted coffee like notes. So the sweeter notes of a porter remain dominant in these robust porters, but the body and oomph is more like a stout. Now, what do I think about this stylistic thing? I mean, it's talking about a real distinction, but at the same time, does it need to exist? You know, for me, a stout is a stout porter, as basically the name originally came from. Porters being the original, kind of heavily malted beer, have dark malted beer named after, luggage porters at train stations who were fond of it, I guess. And stout porter was kind of a heavier version of the porter, which became a category in its of itself, the stout. Um, and then later on, it's during like the craft beer revolution, it this really started getting granular on tasting notes. Oh, a porter should be a little bit more chocolatey, a little bit sweeter, whereas the stout should be more roasted. And for me, it's kind of like splitting hairs a little bit too much. I mean, we have imperial stouts. Imperial stouts have a lot of sugar in them. They're almost like um, sticky at points. So, or should we call those imperial porters, maybe? I don't know. I've had imperial stouts that seem more chocolatey than coffee-like to me. Um, and it kind of just goes and becomes just another thing where I think a little bit too much of American craft beer has become bug collecting, and I mean that in the sense that it's like they're trying to differentiate for the sake of differentiation, and it's not really helping people understand beers anymore. It's more like, I'm trying not to be politically incorrect here, so I'm trying to choose my words correctly. But you don't really want, especially now in the time of contracting, beer sales, to come across as wonkish and kind of hipstery at times. You want it to remain approachable, you know. So something like this, which would just be a porter, and I review beers, so I like to think I know a bit about beers. Maybe somebody would. It seems like they did this split a while back. It's like it almost seems like if I was enjoying this at a beer bar or something like that, and I said, "Oh wow, this is a nice porter. It's heavy, almost like a stout," and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's a robust porter," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'd say it's pretty robust." And the guy would be like, "No, I mean robust porter. It falls under that style," and I'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know they." You know what I mean? It comes across as just it's not being descriptive. It's being nitpicky. Of course, you know we have historical weirdness in beer categories. Baltic porters not being actually used of ale yeast at all. They're fermented with lager yeast, so they're still porters because they're dark beers. But it's just But that's kind of historically grandfathered in. And I would like new beer categories to actually have something meaningful to them rather than being, hey, I added lactose to an IPA and it's now a milkshake IPA. New category. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna just go and add strawberries to my IPA puree, and now I have a new category called strawberry IPA. Or maybe I'm just getting old, because I've ranted about this for like 5 minutes, and is this really even worth ranting about? I don't know. I do know that this is a pretty good beer, no matter what category it falls under. Yeah, definitely has enough hopping there that you know it's there, but not so much. It feels like somebody melted some pine sap into your stout. Don't it, You see, if you go through my entire channel, I have maybe reviewed like 2 or 3 dark IPAs, and that's it. It is a style I loathe. And I fully recognize that that is completely personal on my part, just my personal palate. And that there are many out there that enjoy it. I do not enjoy it to the point where I don't think I can give it a very fair review, because it just clashes too much for me. But yeah, this has been a very long, rambling review. Founders, porter, damn good porter, no matter what kind of porter you call it. And that, folks, is your beer review for this evening. Cheers.